Hey YouTube, this video is going to be about how to do a full debaffle on your Vulcan 900 factory pipes. There's a whole lot of videos on stage 1 debaffling, stage 2 debaffling. There's not many people that go into depth on how to remove everything out of these mufflers. And it's not the easiest thing to do, but we're going to walk through it today, and I'm going to break this up into a bunch of sections so you can hop skip around if you don't want to know how to take them off, or if you don't care about the reinstallation, if you just want to see what's inside of it, that kind of stuff. Now these are actually already done, but it's like a 5-hour process because I'd never done it before either. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to do it. You'll need kind of some basic hand tools. I did need a welder for this. You could get away with the $100 MiG 90 from Harbor Freight if you wanted to. It's just a little more difficult to deal with. So the first part of this is going to be the removal process. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take these heat shields off. So there's two of them. One's a little shorter, but there are these hose clamps that just hook in on the front and down near the bottom. They're 10 millimeter. They also have a Phillips in them if you want to go that way. And then you've got a clamp on the back that just clamps right around this edge right here. And that is a 4 millimeter Allen bolt. And then from there, these will slide off, and then you're exposed with these two tiny, kind of rusty factory head pipes. So as you can see, the way that I remove these is there's a stud right here and there's a bolt, and they've got some rubber isolators on them. The bottom muffler has 2 bolts, and once that's unbolted, these are bolted to the head. There's no break point, so I didn't want to take these off because I didn't want to buy gaskets, so I decided just to cut these off with the Sawzall. I like to make a lot of exhaust changes, so this will make it easy to just pop the muffler off whenever I want to. If I want to add something to it or change it, put slip-ons, whatever. So take a hacksaw or a Sawzall and cut that off. I use a Sawzall. I had to use a 6-inch blade and cut it down a little bit because it will contact back here or down underneath here if you don't cut it off. So now that you've cut that off or unbolted it, either way, now you're down to having your 2 mufflers separated. Oh, and there's a crossover pipe with a clamp on it. It's like this, 12 millimeter. And they'll slide apart, and then here you are. Now, I'll kind of briefly explain what the stage 1 and stage 2 debaffling is. So, normally there's like a plate in here, and there's 3 rivets. You want to drill them out, pull the plate off, and then kind of fold the tip up on the bottom because there's a plate underneath of it too. And there's a pipe that's going to be coming out here. So you want to use a hacksaw and cut that off. You can kind of see some marks in a little bit where I hit the backside with the little hacksaw. But once you get that off, you'll see in here there's a ridge right there. Oh, kind of hard to see. And the stage 1 debaffle, you just drill holes around the perimeter of that to allow exhaust gases to bypass part of the baffle. Stage 2 is you take a hole saw and you can pound in a piece of wood in the center of that, and then you can use a hole saw to cut that out around 2 3/8, something like that size, 2 1/4, I can't remember. But you cut that out, and then you like grab the end of it with vice grips and wiggle it until you break it loose. You see those 3 little weld beads down in there? There's another plate that's in there, and there's a tube that goes all the way through that's perforated, and that's the baffle that you break loose on the stage 2 debaffle. So then there's just there's a plate in there with a hole in the center of it, the same size as that pipe. So we're going to be showing you how to take that plate out, and if you look in the very back, there's another ring, and that's where the catalytic converter is. And we're going to be pulling that out too. So at this point, you finish the stage 2 debaffle. You can skip the drilling the holes part for the stage 1, but now what you have to do, which is a pain, but you have to cut, see that it goes in a little bit right there. You have to cut on the inside of that, all the way around it, because the way this is made is this is an inner and an outer shell, so it keeps this from getting too hot. And you cut that loose on the back side here, and then you stick a piece of pipe in this hole, and you hammer it down, and that will pop the back of this out. So now you've got your inner shell removed from your outer shell. Once you get to that point, you have to, the inner shell, you have to cut the back end off. And that's a lot of work, but it's worth it. You cut the back end of it off so that you can pull this pipe out. And on the other side of this one, there is a section of perforated pipe and a block-off plate. So it has to go in the pipe and then spread out, and then it also goes through this crossover to the other muffler. And so I don't know if that's just so it goes through both sections of catalyst, that's my guess. But once you take the back end off, then you can break the catalyst out. I don't have the punch here that I used, but basically you just take a punch and you go around the outside perimeter of that catalyst and punch all the way through it, kind of bend the punch to the center, and then once you get all the way around it, it will fall through. So once you get to that point, like I showed you earlier, those 3 tacks that are in there, that inner plate, there's not a real good way to get it, so you kind of have to use the same punch, about a foot long, yeah, foot long ish, and you just keep like banging on it with a hammer all the way around the perimeter until you break those tacks, and that plate will come out, and then you can use your piece of pipe to push through the other end and push it out of this end. So once you get that out, now you've got it completely gutted. There'll be nothing in here, and then you can take that front section of pipe, which on this one I had to weld it back on, but you weld it back onto the inner section, and then once that's all welded back together, you just push it back in to the outer sheath, and it's a press fit into this hole. That's the only thing that holds it on this end, is it's just a press fit. So you just kind of take this and you bang it on the ground until you get it put back in there. You can see kind of where I welded it. That was not a very good weld, but that's the idea. You weld that inner section back on, and then you hammer the inner section back into the outer section, and make sure you index everything with Sharpie marks, because it's important that everything goes back together exactly the same, or these crossovers might not line up. And who knows on this one, we're going to find out whenever I reinstall it, but for the time being, we're going to say we indexed it and it will line up. So then you got to weld this, make sure to grind it off because it's chrome plated. You're going to weld this all the way around and then grind it back down, because these clamps clamp down on that exact section that you're welding, so you've got to grind it down flush. It'll probably rust, but you could throw some paint on it if you're worried about that. But now that you've welded that back on, it's all back together. If you guys have any more questions on that, comment. I will respond. I'll clarify anything that was hard to follow. But I'm sorry I didn't have a video of this taken apart. But that is the removal and the teardown and the reinstallation, or not the reinstallation, the reassembly of the mufflers. So you can call this what you will, a stage 3 debaffle, a straight pipe, whatever, but this is a way to get around spending $400, $500 on an aftermarket set of pipes for these. And if you don't change your airbox, you're not going to need tuning, so that's going to save you a ton of money. So we're going to go reinstall these, and I'll show you how to reattach these without welding because I don't want to take those pipes off. You could actually take, this is an adapter from O'Reilly's, if it will focus, 1 3/8 OD on this section, which is about the same as what that is. So you can cut this off, weld it in, make it solid if you want to have it no clamps in there. Those are cheap, like $4 or $5 a piece, and you probably only need one. So I will bolt these back on, and I will show you the clamps I'm going to use to reinstall them. Alright guys, so I got the pipes bolted back on, and I wanted to show you, these are the clamps I'm planning on using. I bought them off Amazon. They were $20 for 10 of these. It says 32 to 37 millimeter, and these are like 1 3/8 pipes, so they will work perfect. But if you have any leakage issues, then I recommend using like a exhaust heat wrap underneath the joint. You'll see after cutting everything there's a decent gap, but these clamps are 3/4 of an inch wide, so they will bridge that gap. So no big deal there, but if it does have some bad exhaust leak sounds, I recommend putting some kind of cloth, you know, like fiberglass cloth underneath of there that won't burn, to seal it up and then clamp it down. So see, there's a bit of a mismatch. These pipes are flexible. This is on rubber mounts, so everything will flex and go back together fine. Crossover is back on. So I'm gonna finish putting the heat shields on it and everything, and then we'll start it up and let you see what it sounds like. And completely as expected, they leaked. So we added the heat wrap underneath each clamp, sealed up perfect. Highly recommended. And I positioned them up slightly backwards to clear the passenger footrest, and the covers are like half covers, so the back's open anyways, so that should clear whenever I put the covers back on. And I'll put those on, we'll fire it up, and I've already started them, so spoiler alert, it's pretty good. And here we are guys, all reinstalled, heat shields. So as you can see, this one I only cut the outer sheathing once towards the end, like I said in the video. On this one, since I was still learning, I thought I was going to cut all the way through both halves, so I cut the outer shell further back. So because I did that, there's some grind marks here, which I don't really care because it's the sound I was after. And here it is. Alright guys, if you got any comments or questions, let me know. And if you like this, like and subscribe to the video and the channel. Thanks guys.